This thing runs terrible and it has 0 power brakes. What could be wrong with it? Let's find out. Let's get started. This is a 2001 Audi TT. It is a baby version of the R8 that I have. Well, actually this came out before the R8, so maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. This one came in running terrible. It's like it's misfiring, sputtering, cutting out. And when you push on the brakes, it's like you're pushing on a piece of wood and almost doesn't want to stop. So we're going to play the game here in a little bit and see if you guys can guess what's wrong with it. But before we dive in and show you what we found, which is kind of interesting, let's take a look around this TT. So here's the front of this TT. It does have a blacked out grille, a few little modifications. You can tell it has been stanced, it's been lowered, and it has some Continental tires on it, and I don't know what those are, 10, 12 spoke wheels, something like that. They are made by liquid metal. As I go down this side, I love this color on the Audis. It's kind of a, I don't know if it's called Argent Silver, Arctic Silver. You guys can let me know what it is in the comments, but it's kind of a pearly silver. This one's in really good shape. The exterior shows very well. Let's go ahead and open the hood. So whenever we have a running condition where it's running rough, running terrible, I always hate to see this when I open a hood. Let me show you. Maxed out on the bling, all kinds of cool high performance mods. It actually was well done, except for a few key places. As you can see, it's just an Audi TT engine. It has different types of intakes, lots of hoses, and we have some different adapters here to fit these coils. One thing I don't like about these kinds of mods is you want to get the scan tool out and start looking at data. Look at all the sensors. What are they showing? What are they doing? But unfortunately, one of the common things that people do for max power is they disable the sensors, or they put something in line with the sensor to fool it, to make it think this or think that, so the computer gives more power. Let me show you. So that was a sensor to something. It's been capped off. It's not giving a good reading anymore. You really have to be cognizant of that. If you're an inexperienced tech, you get in there and say, well, the data's showing this and the data's showing that, and I'm going to tell you the data is a lie. Because it's not even accurate. It's not even reading. It's been tricked into doing something else. So you have to take that data, throw it in the trash. It doesn't mean anything anymore. You can't even use it. When they start doing that on all kinds of sensors and it starts to get really crazy, usually I will turn down the car. We could spend hours chasing what the last person cut. What have they modified? What have they deleted? What have they changed? There's quite a bit changed on here, but luckily the issue that it had nothing to do with the modifications. However, I'm going to show you a few things today where the modifications have caused problems that normally wouldn't have been there. Let's let Mrs. Wizard show you guys the really cool interior.
Oh no, it says service. Shocking. Well, we're going to give it some service in a little while, but this has 110,112 miles. And okay, liking the gauge cluster, looking good in there. Okay, let's get the light turned on for us. But as we look at our dash, okay, looking good. Kind of like those louvers up there. Nice, looking good. Not seeing that very often. We have turnstile vents, looking good. Got a spot there for the cell phone to magnet to. Got a nice little USB charge spot right here. And then we've got buttons galore. They have upgraded the stereo system to a Pioneer system. And we've got simple controls for that HVAC. Now here's what makes this an absolute blast to drive. Yes, this would be a 5-speed manual. Yes, that would make this so much fun to drive. This little guy would be a beast on the road. But as we move back, got some red stitching on our e-brake. We've got the door unlock, and we've got the convertible top open right there as well. So looking good. As we move back, here's our nice little cup holders, and these are sturdy and stout little things. Good. Nice little pad on there with the red. Get to those seats. Yeah, that is some nice bolster on the side with more red stitching, looking good, and a headrest that is nicely adjustable. That door card, it's got leather in the center with the gray on the side. Again, looking really nice. I love those steel accents on the door handle and on the door release. As we get to the back, yeah, there is no back seat. It's a 2-seater. But here we go. We have a little bit of a storage spot there. We do have a glass window in our convertible top, and the convertible top itself is looking very nice. Back at that steering wheel, we've got the Audi symbol in the center, and that's it. That's all we need. If we're driving this convertible around, we don't need buttons to control the radio and all that other stuff. We just want to have fun driving, and this would be so much fun. Let's get this up in the air, because I think we're going to see some more things that are going to be the source of what's going on here.
One thing I noticed that's missing is the belly pan that goes here that would help protect from scraping all these hoses and lines, like if you hit a parking stall or something. But we're starting to see, like this here. What does that do? Do you guys know? Why is it disconnected? You see all these silicone hoses and pipes, which really that's not a big problem. That's just some performance mods. It doesn't really affect anything with the way it runs. Or one thing I don't like to see is wires dangling that are disconnected, and sometimes you get a tuner in there that says, oh, if we disconnect this sensor and we can trick it to thinking give it more fuel or do this or do that. And it ends up causing trouble down the road. It's very short term usually when you can get these mods and gains and things of that nature. You do get the power, but then further down the road, you just start having more trouble. As we take a look at these wheels, it's got some upgraded CV shafts. Sway bar links are good, and you can see it has some coilovers on up there. Brakes are like 100%. Nothing's loose there. Brakes are good over here. And it does have, again, coilovers over here. One thing I don't like is how tight that hose is for the brakes, but it's just zip tied on, so it's not that big of a deal. Nothing loose there. Next thing I noticed is it has some oil leaks. You can see it's all wet through here. And if we look through the backside, you can see a couple drips of oil. There's something leaking oil up top. We'll take a look at that here in a moment when we drop it. So as we move back, you're not going to see a drive shaft to the rear. This is not the Quattro, it's just front wheel drive only. Here's our fuel tank. And again, we see some coilovers here. Right here we have some coilovers so they can lower it. It looks like it has some adjustable type shocks and things. The brakes, they are fairly new. They look to be in good shape. Check this side. Nothing loose on that side either. Brakes are good. I don't see anything leaking from the shocks. Nothing loose there. So there are modifications underneath here. Most of it's not going to cause us any issues to cause it run rough. They're just for handling and suspension and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the ground. So get this opened up. I'll go ahead and start the engine. You guys can see it runs and stumbles, and it runs really, really rough.
Wow, Wizard, that poor TT sounded like a big block Chevy, heavily modded.
Yes. I don't like that word modded. But anyways, so you saw it's running really rough. It sits there and shakes, and a couple times it tries to stall. And Adiel was bringing it in, and he noticed when he went to hit the brakes, he had to keep pushing hard. He's like, oh my God, it doesn't have any brakes. So I kind of put two and two together. It's running really rough, and we have no more power brakes. What can cause this issue? So we'll go ahead and play the game. You guys can guess what could be wrong with this vehicle. Is it A, a large vacuum leak? Is it B, a bad engine computer? Or is it C, a bad mass airflow sensor? I'll let you guys post in the comments what you think is wrong with it. And now we're going to show you the diagnosis process that we used. Ardell was kind of hesitant because there's so many mods on this thing. Where do you begin? What did the last guy do? Did they forget to plug something in? Did they modify it to where a sensor is no longer being used? Has a modification that's been installed failed? It really makes the diagnosis 2 to 3 times longer. But I started thinking about it. I talked to Ariel and said, hey, we don't have any power brakes, and it's running really bad. Both of those things will happen with a large vacuum leak. So I'll go ahead and get Ariel. I'll have him hook up the smoke machine. It's very interesting what we found. There's our handy dandy smoke machine, and it is very tiny, isn't it, Ariel?
It is.
You guys know I used to have a larger snap-on one. It finally died, and it was $1,200 for that one. This one was $100 or less than $100. They've really come a long way with these little smoke machines. This thing works so good. It blows the old snap-on one out of the water. So, when this first came in, you saw all these mods. You were kind of like, oh my goodness, where do I even begin, huh?
Yep. I had a couple of jokes, but I'm trying to be nice, so I won't say it out loud.
Okay. And it really does, especially if they're still learning some things. You're like, okay, I have this and this idea where I can check, and then you open the hood and you're like, oh my God, that blows that out of the water. I don't even know where to look now. But we're going to go ahead and turn on the smoke machine. I kind of had a hunch. We've got probably a large vacuum leak. So go ahead and get that turned on, Ariel, and then we'll see what we see. And here we are right behind the master cylinder. The power brake booster itself has a giant crack in it. I'll go ahead and put my screwdriver into the crack. Right there, guys. Massive vacuum leak right out of the power brake booster. So that little tool works pretty good, huh?
It does. I was surprised. It's small but mighty.
It puts out a lot of smoke. It works really well. So we now know the power brake booster is cracked. That's going to allow the power brakes to lose their power feature, and also a bunch of unchecked air is getting to the engine and making it run terrible. It normally would be an hour or two to remove that brake booster, but you saw a lot of things in the way, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that were aftermarket that I'm going to have to undo a lot of what he did.
There's an oil catch can there that needs to be removed. That big red silicone boot is no longer stock, so that needs to be unhooked from like 5 or 6 different places and have that removed out of the way. And that adds, guess what? Time, labor. And labor costs money, doesn't it?
That it does.
It does. It does, in fact. So I'll go ahead and let you head to brake, but you knocked it out of the park. Now we know exactly why this is doing what it's doing. So good job.
Yes, sir.
So it's easy to think, and this is where you can get confusing in the mechanic world. My brakes don't have power brakes anymore, and the engine runs really bad. That's 2 separate issues, right? It can very easily be just one issue causing both problems. And it definitely is in this case. That could be dangerous. Eventually the sheet metal could give way on that and completely give way, and you lose brakes because there's nothing for the master cylinder to hold against anymore. And you just go careening into the telephone pole or something. Very, very dangerous. It absolutely has to be fixed. There's no question about it. There's no talking about it. It has to be done. But while we were looking at this little aftermarket silicone boot that we got to remove, I found our oil leak. I bet you're thinking we're going to look at the valve covers, and that's what I was thinking too, but we're not. Right there you can see the silicone boot is rubbing on that little aftermarket bracket, and it has rubbed a hole clear through it. It's actually melted it. You can see the melting. I know that was a little hard to see, but you could see in the mirror. You can go rewind if you want to watch it again. It really wasn't enough to cause a massive vacuum leak. That's not the source of our main vacuum leak, but it is enough that oil can get out, which is PCV vapors. There's still a little bit in there, even though it has a catch can, and it drips down and it gets onto the transmission. Luckily, that's not a pressure silicone hose. It's just air flowing through it, so we can probably repair that, fix that bracket while we have it apart. The labor is not going to be much different anyways, and take care of that very dangerous cracked power brake booster. Whenever a car comes in, and again, guys, I'm not knocking this guy for modifying his car. It's really cool. It's probably really quick. I really kind of like, actually, I think it was in a lot of ways really well done. I've seen some hack jobs, guys. I've really seen some hack jobs. This is not a hack job. It's actually very well done. But the thing here is whenever I see there's been hands in here changing so many things for our own liability and protection here at Omega, I'm going to retrace every step you did and check all of your work. Because when one of those fails, they're going to think, since it was in Omega's shop last, it must be them. They messed it up. I always check this stuff. And let me show you what else I found. Right here is a little black fitting that screws into this fuel rail, and it was spraying a very fine mist of gas. It currently still is. You can see my fingers wet. Whenever you run this, it's spraying gas here.
Oh my gosh, that's so dangerous.
a small electrical spark, just the tiniest little thing, and we see a lot of sensors have been cut and things, boom, it catches on fire, it burns to the ground. Omega was the last person that worked on it. They put a booster in. They must have caused this. I really have to check that, guys. We're going to let them know everything we found about the installation so they can choose to repair it. At least they're knowledgeable about it. You'd be surprised. This guy may have had all this work done by somebody else. He has no idea that some of this workmanship has some issues. So we're going to definitely reseal that and make sure no more gas is spraying. That's very dangerous. I smelled gas when it came in. I was like, why am I smelling gas? Now I know why. So again, not knocking the Custer, not knocking the mods. This guy's really cool, really like doing business with him. But when you do modify your car, expect problems. You're going to have to work through some bugs. You're going to have to change a few things out. You're going to have to rework a few items. Eventually you'll get it back up to where it's fully reliable again, but it takes some time to work the bugs out of the system. We'll get that pesky cracked booster replaced, take care of that tear in the silicone boot for the intake so it doesn't drip oil anymore, take care of that fuel leak, and we'll be back in business. We'll have power brakes again, which is great. We definitely need that. We also don't need the possibility of wrecking. And we'll also have a solid running engine again. It won't be shaking like Mrs. Wizard said, some kind of super cammed up big block or something. Guys, when I'm in a car show and I hear that, I only have one word that comes to mind: gross. Ugh. I like drivability. I like it to be smooth, but be powerful. I've driven some of Hoovie's cars, like his McLaren MP412C that he used to have, or several other cars. They drive beautiful, absolute power. So it doesn't have to run bad like that to be powerful. And I know it's going to make a lot of people mad, but it is what it is. That's how I feel about some of those mods. So curious what kind of tools we use going to work on this Audi TT, just like that smoke machine we just showed you, which is very useful. It's going to be in the link in the description below. We have our Amazon affiliates link there. If you purchase anything there, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. That little tool, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars for a professional smoke machine. You can get that little guy and find out some serious problems with your car really fast. We have many more videos to come. Many more videos, guys. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell on your way out. Thanks for watching.